Hey everyone, and welcome! Today we're going to follow a farmer's journey to really understand how to get the best possible crop yield. This is your ultimate exam-ready guide, so let's jump right in. So here's our game plan. We'll start with the most basic choice every farmer has to make, balancing cost and yield. Then we'll get into the details of feeding the crops, watering the land, and using smart planting patterns. And finally, we'll wrap it all up by looking at the big picture, sustainable farming. First things first. A farmer's budget pretty much decides everything. Why? Well, because think about it. The more money you can put in for better technology and materials, the bigger your harvest or yield is going to be. This simple fact leads to three main levels of farm production. And you can see it right here on this chart. It's super clear. With no-cost farming, you're pretty much just relying on nature, so you get a low yield. A low-cost approach adds some basic help, and you get a medium yield. But for a high yield, you need a high-cost approach, using all the advanced tech. So yeah, how much money a farmer has really sets the stage for everything else. Okay, so the budget is sorted. Now, the farmer's first big job is to feed the plants. And this part, it's all about something called nutrient management. And trust me, it is absolutely crucial for getting healthy crops. Just like we need a balanced diet with all our vitamins and minerals, plants have their own nutritional needs. It turns out, they need a whopping 16 essential nutrients to grow strong and really thrive. But where do they get all of these from?
Okay, so those 16 nutrients, they're split into two main teams. First up, you have the macronutrients. Think of these as the main course for the plant, the dal, roti, rice, the stuff it needs a lot of to grow big. Then you have the micronutrients. These are more like the pinch of salt or haldi in your food. You only need a tiny amount, but without them, the plant just can't function properly. This difference is a key point for your exams.
So, how do we make sure the soil has enough of these nutrients? Well, one of the best ways is with manure. It's basically nature's own superfood for the soil, made from decomposed organic waste. And the great thing is, it doesn't just feed the plant, it actually improves the health of the soil itself. And there are a few different types. You have compost, which is just made by letting waste break down over time. Then there's vermicompost, which is super cool because you get earthworms to do all the hard work for you, and they do it way faster. And there's also green manure, a really clever trick where farmers grow specific plants just to plow them back into the soil for a big nutrient boost. Okay, so on the other side of the coin, you've got fertilizers. These are chemicals made in factories, and they're designed to be like a super targeted nutrient boost. They usually supply the big three: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, or NPK. They're all about getting fast results. Okay, this slide is super important, so pay close attention. It's manure versus fertilizers. Manure is like, building a strong, healthy body over time. It's a long-term investment that improves the soil and is great for the environment. Fertilizers, on the other hand, are more like an energy drink. You get a quick burst of growth, but there are some serious downsides. Overuse can harm the soil and even wash away and pollute our rivers. So it's a real trade-off, right? Long-term health versus short-term results. And all this talk about manure and chemicals, it leads us right into this big idea, organic farming. It's a whole system that chooses that long-term, sustainable path. It relies on natural things like manure and compost and tries to avoid synthetic chemicals altogether. All right, so our crops are well fed. What's the next thing they absolutely need to survive? Yep, you guessed it, water. So let's dive into why getting the watering right is just as important as the food. Especially in a country like India, the monsoon can be super unpredictable. And because of that, farmers just can't sit around waiting for rain. That's where irrigation comes in. It's just a fancy word for artificially giving water to the fields, making sure the crops get a drink right when they need it most. And farmers have a bunch of different ways to do this, and it really just depends on what's available nearby. They might dig wells to get groundwater, use huge networks of canals from rivers, pump water straight from a river, or even collect rainwater in massive tanks. But here's a really crucial point for the future. We can't just keep taking water out of the ground. We've got to be smart about saving it. Clever techniques like rainwater harvesting and building small check dams are amazing because they help store rainwater and let it soak back into the ground. This ensures there's enough water for everyone in the long run. Okay, so our farmer is on a roll. Nutrients? Check. Water? Check. What's the last big piece of the puzzle? It's all about smart planting. This means using specific patterns to get the absolute most out of the land. This table breaks down the three main strategies perfectly. First is mixed cropping. This is like having insurance. You plant 2 or more crops together, so if one fails, you still have the other to harvest. Next is intercropping. This one's all about being organized, planting different crops in specific rows to use nutrients better and stop pests. And finally, crop rotation. This is the long-term strategy for keeping your soil happy and healthy for years to come. Seriously, this table is gold for your revision. Make sure you know it.
So we've walked with our farmer through this whole journey, right? Let's zoom out a bit and see how all these different steps, budgeting, feeding, watering, planting, how they all click together to create the big picture of what we call sustainable farming.
Remember, it all kicks off with the farmer's budget. That decision directly impacts how they manage nutrients, organic or chemical. From there, they have to ensure a good water supply through irrigation. And finally, they pick a smart cropping pattern to bring it all home. See how that works? Each step logically flows into the next to boost that final yield.
And I want to leave you with one final big question to think about. How do we grow enough food to feed our massive growing population while also making sure we protect our environment for the future? That's the real challenge, and it connects everything we've just talked about to the world outside your textbook. Think about it.